Oh, come in. And oh, nice to see you. I'm so glad to be back in my albeit dishevelled study. I've just been away in America for a week teaching at Duke University, which itself is a wonderful place, and the divinity school there is great, but the sort of hotel rooms you stay in are so kind of airsats and plasticky and placeless. So I'm back, and I'm just delighted to be in a room full of books again. Now, I thought I've had occasion recently, for various reasons, to reflect and draw on Tennyson again. And it suddenly occurred to me that I don't think I've ever read to you one of the poems that lies behind my own kind of Arthurian endeavours. An early, youthful poem of Tennyson's, perhaps is one of his most famous poems, the Lady of Shalott. And I'm hoping we might just have time for that. You'll have to make yourself comfortable and get a dram. And now look, this is really, look at these books here. This one's actually needing its board redone. But this set of Tennyson, a lovely late Victorian leather-bound, I actually bought when I was 21 with some birthday money. And it was a kind of promise to myself, or a glimpse of myself in the future. In fact, it was a really prescient glimpse, because I imagined myself as one day, there I was as a sort of footloose 21-year-old with, just a few books and sort of raggedy sense of being a poet. But I bought that set of 8 volumes of Tennyson sort of as a kind of tryst with myself in the future. Maybe one day I'll have a study like this and it'll be lined with books like this. So this was the sort of deposit on it in a way. So let me find you the Lady of Shalott, and I hope we'll just have time to read it. Here we are, 114. Ought to fall open at it, really. Here we are. Oh no, here we are, yes. 124, in fact. Okay, I'm sure you know this anyway, but it's just such a beautiful thing. I get such pleasure in rhyme, and he really gives you lots of it here. I sometimes feel the language itself gets pleasure in being rhymed, that words are sort of waiting to be properly rhymed and coupled together. So here we are, the Lady of Shalott. On either side the river lie long fields of barley and of rye that clothe the wold and meet the sky, and through the field the road runs by to many-towered Camelot. And up and down the people go, gazing where the lilies blow round an island there below, the island of Shalott. Willows whiten, aspens quiver, little breezes dusk and shiver through the wave that runs forever by the island in the river, flowing down to Camelot. 4 grey walls and 4 grey towers overlook a space of flowers, and the silent isle embowers the Lady of Shalott. By the margin, willow-veiled, slide the heavy barges, trailed by slow horses and unhailed. The scallop flitteth, silken-sailed, down to towered Camelot. But who hath seen her wave her hand, or at the casement seen her stand, or is she known in all the land, the Lady of Shalott? Only reapers, reaping early in amongst the bearded barley, hear a song that echoes cheerly from the river winding clearly down to towered Camelot. And by the moon, the reaper weary, piling sheaves in uplands airy, listening whispers, "'Tis the fairy Lady of Shalott." There she weaves by night and day a magic web with colours gay. She has heard a whisper say a curse is on her if she stay to look down to Camelot. She knows not what that curse may be, and so she weaveth steadily, and little other care hath she, the Lady of Shalott. And moving through a mirror clear that hangs before her all the year, shadows of the world appear. There she sees the highway near, winding down to Camelot. There the river eddy whirls, and there the surly village churls and the red cloaks of market girls pass onward from Shalott. Sometimes a troop of damsels glad, an abbot on an ambling pad, sometimes a curly shepherd lad, or long-haired page in crimson clad goes by to towered Camelot. And sometimes through the mirror blue the knights come riding two and two. She hath no loyal knight and true, the Lady of Shalott. But in her web she still delights to weave the mirror's magic sights, for often through the silent nights a funeral with plumes and lights and music went to Camelot. Or when the moon was overhead, come two young lovers lately wed. I am half sick of shadows, said the Lady of Shalott. A bowshot from her bower eaves, he rode amongst the barley sheaves. The sun came dazzling through the leaves and flamed upon the brazen greaves of bold Sir Lancelot. A red cross knight forever kneeled to a lady on his shield that sparkled on the yellow field beside remote Shalott. The gemmy bridle glittered free like to some branch of stars we see hung in the golden galaxy. The bridle reins rang merrily as he rode down to Camelot. And from his blazoned baldric slung a mighty silver bugle hung, and as he rode his armour rung beside remote Shalott. All in the blue unclouded weather, thick jewelled shone the saddle leather, the helmet and the helmet feather burned like one burning flame together as he rode down to Camelot. As often through the purple night, below the starry clusters bright, some bearded meteor trailing light moves over still Shalott. His broad, clear brow in sunlight glowed, on burnished hooves his war-horse strode, from underneath his helmet flowed his coal-black curls as on he rode down to Camelot. From the bank and from the river he flashed into the crystal mirror. Tirra-lirra by the river sang Sir Lancelot. She left the web. She left the loom. She made 3 paces through the room. She saw the water lily bloom. She saw the helmet and the plume. She looked down to Camelot. Out flew the web and floated wide. The mirror cracked from side to side. The curse has come upon me, cried the Lady of Shalott. In the stormy east wind straining, the pale yellow woods were waning, the broad stream in his banks complaining, heavily the low sky raining over towered Camelot. Down she came and found a boat, beneath the willow left afloat, and round about the prow she wrote, the Lady of Shalott. And down the river's dim expanse, like some bold seer in a trance, seeing all his own mischance with a glassy countenance, she did look to Camelot. And at the closing of the day, she loosed the chain, and down she lay. The broad stream bore her far away, the Lady of Shalott. Lying, robed in snowy white that loosely flew to left and right, the leaves upon her falling light through the noises of the night, she floated down to Camelot. And as the boat head wound along the willowy hills and fields among, they heard her singing her last song, the Lady of Shalott, heard a carol, mournful, holy, chanted loudly, chanted lowly, till her blood was frozen slowly, and her eyes were darkened wholly, turned to towered Camelot. For ere she reached upon the tide the first home by the waterside, singing, in her song she died, the Lady of Shalott. Under tower and balcony, by garden wall and gallery, a gleaming shape she floated by, dead pale between the houses high, silent into Camelot. Out upon the wharfs they came, knight and burgher, lord and dame, and round the prow they read her name, the Lady of Shalott. Who is this? And what is here? And in the lighted palace near died the sound of royal cheer, and they crossed themselves for fear, all the knights of Camelot. But Lancelot mused a little space. He said, she has a lovely face. God in his mercy lend her grace, the Lady of Shalott. Just astonishingly good poetry. Thanks for sitting by while I read it. It gives me great pleasure to recite that. See you later.